Unicorns Talk is a weekly podcast where we discuss the ups and downs of the human experience, from personal growth to romantic relationships and everything in between. This show is for life livers, life lovers, and life enhancers. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards, your life enhancement coach, and together we're going to laugh, love, and learn to maneuver all of life's little messes. Let's go. Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning in to episode 24 of Unicorns Talk Podcast. My name is Latrice Sampson Richards. I am a licensed professional counselor and a certified life coach for Black women who are ready to heal from their past so we can build the future that we deserve. And as usual, I'm super excited to be here with y'all. This week, I've actually had a pretty dope ass week. I've been a little tired lately. But, I don't know. I think I've been saying all week, I think maybe like Mercury is rising or something or whatever that means. Because I don't really know what that means, to be honest. But I know people say it when they feel like they're all out of whack and stuff. But I've actually had a very good week this week. And outside of being tired, things have been going really well. The Empower Your Vision Masterclass is going very, very well. And we actually have module 3 is tonight, and I actually decided to add an additional module because as I was doing all of the preparation and everything for module 3 tonight, I realized that I just think it's too much information all at one time, because we're like really digging in deep. So I'm going to split module 3 into 3 and 4, and then 4 is going to become 5. So it's actually going to be 5 modules now, which I actually like. There was always a part of me that felt like I wanted it to be longer, and so I'm adding that extra module to it, and I'm really excited about it. The masterclass is going so well, and I'm getting just some really good feedback about it, and so I'm just grateful to be able to do the work that I love and to be able to help people and actually have an impact, a positive impact on their lives. And so I can't wait to share it with everybody. It's coming up real soon, to be honest. I'm looking to relaunch in March, so if you didn't make it into the masterclass this time, don't worry, girl. It's coming. I promise. It's coming. This week I'm also, this week was kind of rough, and it wasn't rough. Like I already said, I had a pretty good week, but when it comes to the podcast and things like that, sometimes it can get a little disheartening. I'm new to the whole world of podcasting, and so looking at the numbers and things like that, not really understanding what I'm looking at, it can be a little rough, and so I had a moment this week, and I'm going to talk about it more toward the end of the show, but I feel like I came out of it much better. So I'll be talking about that today as well. Today's topic is actually, I don't have a title yet for today's topic. I can't really think of a cute and fun title, but we're talking about mission and vision statements for our lives. So the last couple weeks I've really been mirroring what is being done in the Empower Your Vision Masterclass. And so this is a part of what we're talking about this week, is establishing a mission statement for yourself as well as a vision statement. People always talk about you need to have a vision for your life, and we do these vision board parties, but I don't think anybody is really putting the effort into teaching people what a vision is, what a mission is, and how to establish those things for your life. And so I'm going to give y'all some tips today on how to make that happen, like give you some information on what it is and give you some tips on how to create these things for your life. And of course, like I said, in the masterclass, we go a lot deeper into this. And I actually, give worksheets and step by step on how to make it happen, and like walk everybody through it. But today, for the purposes of the podcast, I'm going to kind of give you an overview and an outline enough to get you started. All right. And then I have my high five for today goes to Hulu and Living Single. And y'all got my whole life on Living Single this weekend, let me tell you. And then, and then that's it. I'll move on to shout outs and things like that. So let's go ahead and get started. All right, so like I said, I'm talking about mission and vision statements for our lives. And so it's very, very important to have a mission statement and a vision statement for your life. I think when it comes to business and things like that, like we've always hear about having a mission or a vision statement for businesses, but nobody ever really talks about having having each one of each for our personal lives. And I think that, I forgot to put my phone on silent. Y'all know I forget sometimes. And I think that it's extremely important to have this because it helps you to gain clarity about who you are and where you're trying to go. Okay. So your mission statement is a statement about who you are. Okay, your vision statement is a declaration of who you want to be. All right, so the mission statement speaks to the core of who you are, and your vision statement speaks to the core of who you want to be, your dreams and things like that. All right, so I'm going to start off talking a little bit more about mission statement and then move into the vision statement. Okay, so like I said, your mission statement really defines your sense of purpose in life. All right, and it helps us, it helps us to stay on track when life happens. Like, listen, the only thing that's constant in the world is the fact that life happens, and life happens on a very regular and consistent basis. And so if we are not connected to the core of who we are, then it's easy for us to get swept up in the ups and downs of life. And that's just what happens. Life is full of ups and downs. So a mission statement kind of helps to ground us. It helps us to come back to or to be able to come back to who we are when the world might be trying to change us. Okay, there's not like a particular method or pattern or style for a mission statement. Everybody's mission statement can look differently, but in general, some of the things that you can include in your mission statement are, your values, your goals, activities or hobbies, things that you enjoy doing, causes that you support, or characteristics about who you are. All of those things, are some of the components that you can put into your mission statement. It's a declaration of who and what is important to you in your life. All right. So, for example, my mission statement for my life is that my mission is to have a significant positive impact on the lives of every person that comes into contact with me by being authentic, caring, and compassionate toward them while sharing the gift of emotional healing and manifestation. That is my personal mission statement for my life. And it's literally who I am, right? Everything that I do, it doesn't matter if it's, like in my business, in my career, or even just in my personal life. My mission is to have an impact on people's lives, whether it's standing in line at Walmart or, in my office with somebody that's sitting on my sofa. Like, it does not matter to me where or when I come into contact with people, my goal is to have had a positive impact on their lives, right? And I do that by being authentic. Authenticity is so important to me. I definitely value authenticity, being caring. Those it's a characteristic of who I am. Showing compassion, having empathy toward people. Those are characteristics that really define who I am, right? And my goal at the end of the day is to share the gift of emotional healing and manifestation. I am a teacher. So that mission statement, my mission statement, really tells you everything that you need to know about the core of who I am. Okay. Now, of course, there's other things about me that's not included in that mission statement, but if that was all somebody had to go on in terms of trying to understand who I am or getting a quick glimpse of who I am, that is at the core, that is what they need to know about me. All right. So your mission statement is a statement about who you are. It defines who you are. It tells people what's important to you and what they can expect from you. Okay, but it also reminds you of who you are when maybe sometimes you lose yourself in the world. All right. So that's mission statements. Mission statement is not as in depth as a vision statement is. So I know that was a really quick overview, but that's basically what it is. So, in order to really start defining a mission statement for yourself, start considering what your values are. What are your goals? What are the things that are important to you? Like, what are the core pieces of who you are? And start putting together that mission statement. All right. A vision statement is a little more involved. All right. And this is really like the trendy piece of all of this, because I mean, who hasn't been to a vision board party? You know what I'm saying? Like everybody, people, it's very trendy right now for people to hold vision board parties. And listen, I'm all about a vision board, okay? I am not knocking the vision board at all. I am all about a vision board. I think that a vision board is an amazing way to gain clarity on the direction that you're going in your life. But before you can really create an effective vision board, you have to first understand the vision. You need to create a vision for yourself. And there is a method to this. And like I said, I feel like, we skip steps, like we jump straight into creating the board, but we never really sit down and take the time that we need to take to really outline the vision. Okay. And so that's what this is about. This is what we're going to talk about. Outlining the vision, creating the vision statement. All right. So a vision statement is a declaration of who you want to be. All right. It presents a clear picture of the future that we want to create. So how will your life be when you are living your mission statement? Right? How will your life be when you are living your mission statement? And that's really what the vision statement encompasses. If I am living to my full potential, if I am really living and walking in my purpose, living and walking in my mission statement, then this is the life that I will have. What does that look like? What does that look like from the different life areas, like according to your different life areas? Family, financial, career, or business, like, where's your home? Where are you living? Like, what does that look like in reality? Okay. Your vision statement, like I said, it can definitely cover multiple life areas. And there's a couple of different ways that you can do it. You can do one vision statement that just kind of incorporates, a little bit of everything, or you can do a different vision statement for each life area. So, for example, you can have a vision statement for your family life, right? You can have a vision statement, like I do a vision statement for my personal life, like each aspect of my personal life, meaning my personal finances, my business. I do a vision statement for my marriage. I do a vision statement for my health and wellness, my spirituality. Like each life area, I have a different vision statement for that life area. And for me, and I find for most of my clients, it's the best way to do it because it helps you to gain clarity. Because my vision in one area may not be the same as my vision in another area. And for me, it helps me to be able to compartmentalize those things, right? It helps me to be able to stay focused because I may not, maybe I'm stalling in one area of my life, but in another area, I'm making significant progress. Like, for example, I may be experiencing lots and lots of career growth or business growth, but I might feel like I'm stalling when it comes to romantic relationships, right? And so having a separate vision statement helps me to be able to identify that, helps me to be able to say, okay, this is the area that I'm lacking in. And then when I move into vision planning and goal planning, maybe then I can put more emphasis on the areas that I feel like are lacking. Does that make sense? Okay. I hope that makes sense for you. So I prefer to do a different vision statement for each life area. All right. Some tips that you can use when you are creating your vision statement is, think about what a day in the life looks like, right? A day in that life. Like if it was a perfect world and everything was exactly the way that you wanted it to be, what does that look like? What does that look like? All right. And in each area, what does that look like? I have, maybe I have a husband with 2.5 kids and a dog and a white picket fence in, suburbia America, or like what does that look like for you? I wake up every morning and I go exercise, or I do meditation, and then I come home and I cook breakfast for my husband and my kids, and then I really sit down. I'm doing in my own business, so I get ready to see my first client around 12 noon, and I have 2 clients for the day, and then I get to go to the gym. Or like, what does that day look like for you? Okay. It helps to make it more real. All right, to kind of anchor it into reality. You want to use as many details as you can in order to anchor it. And if you're doing like a vision board or something, use pictures or other visuals. Like, you want to make it as realistic as possible. Okay, now I want you to dream big. Like, I want you to think outside of the box. I want you to dream the biggest dream that you can dream. But when I say anchor it into reality, I mean, I want you to make it feel more tangible. Like, if you can dream a big dream, but if you don't ever see it happening for yourself in real life, if you cannot identify what it tangibly looks like in reality, then it doesn't really go anywhere. It's just a wish or a hope. Okay, so in order for it to really transform into a dream or a vision, you need to be able to anchor it. What does it look like in real life, right? So, for example, I can say I want to be a billionaire. I want to be a billionaire. That's a big ass dream, okay? Financially, that's a big, big dream. Okay, dream that big. If that's where you want to go with it, then dream that big. But then what does that look like in real life? Maybe in real life that looks like, a tech startup. Or maybe in real life that looks like investing. that looks like being an investment broker, or that looks like being like whatever that look like, a real estate mogul or something like that. Like, it's not enough to just dream big. You also need to anchor it to reality. What does that look like in real life? Okay, because it gives you something tangible for which to pursue. All right. Even as you dream big, you may need to adjust your dream as you move along, meaning that you might need to add to it, or you might need to revise it. This has happened to me, right, several times. I remember when I was in school, when I was in college and grad school, my biggest dream at that time was to go into private practice. That was the biggest dream that I could dream at that particular time. And listen, it was huge. And I felt like, at that time in my life, it was everything that I had been working toward. And so when I finally got to a place where, and like, listen, I saw this dream in my mind, which we're going to talk about that often. You need to see it clearly and you need to see it often. Okay. The power of visualization. I'm going to talk about that a little bit more as well. But when I finally manifested that dream and I'm in private practice, this thing that was the biggest dream that I ever could have dreamed at that time, I finally got into it and I hated it. I absolutely hated it. I hate dealing with insurance companies. I hated, I always enjoy working with my clients, but trying to get clients, like the hustle of it all, because it was a different kind of hustle, and it just completely changed the way that it started to change the way that I felt about the work, and I did not like that. And so I was devastated to find out that the biggest dream that I could have dreamed ended up being something that I absolutely hated. You know what I'm saying? And so I had to revise that dream. And in the process of attaining that dream, it really kind of opened my eyes to some other things, and new dreams started to form. And then my dreams got even bigger than that which I thought was the biggest dream that I could ever have. And so my dreams have, it's a working document. It keeps moving. It keeps growing. There's no such thing as a finite dream. All right. So dream big, but also be willing and be open to the idea that as you start achieving the dream and as you get closer to the dream, that you may need to dream even bigger and bigger and bigger and keep growing this thing. Okay. You keep coming back to it. You can revise it as many times as you need to. And even though I hate the word should, you should. It is necessary to revise it, because as you grow, your dreams will grow as well. As you gain access to more knowledge about the world and how things work, then your dreams should benefit from that access and knowledge as well. Okay? All right. So, let's see. Y'all know I have notes, so I want to make sure that I'm covering everything. That I'm covering everything that I want to share with y'all. The last thing I want to say about dreaming big is that you have the power to manifest anything that you can think up. Okay? You have the power to manifest anything that you can dream of, but you must believe that it can happen and that you can manifest it. So you have to believe in the fact that it can happen, and you have to believe in the fact that you have the ability to make it happen. All right? I always say shoot for the moon. If you don't make it, hey, at least you'll be with the stars. That was real cheesy. I know. But you get what I'm saying, okay? That it's real. Like, it's real talk. All right? All right, so anchor it with reality, dream big. Okay. So I talked about, like writing it down, seeing it clearly, and seeing it often. So when I say see it clearly and see it often, I'm talking about literally and figuratively. Okay, so literally and figuratively. So, in a literal sense, when I say see it clearly and see it often, I mean you need to write this down. You need to create a space where you can see it and read it every single day. All right. And that's where vision boards come in, right? But it doesn't only have to be a vision board. Like in the world of technology, there's so many different options that you can use. I still like to do a board. Like I get a poster board from the store, and I I do a poster board, and I usually put that up on my wall or something like that. Or like I like to put it in my bedroom, honestly, right over the vanity, because that way it's the last thing I see when I go to bed at night and the first thing I see when I wake up in the morning. And so even just having that little flash of it's almost like an instant reminder. Like just the fact that I know it's there, it helps to keep my vision at the top of my brain. All right. And I use a combination of words and pictures on my vision board. All right. You can also create a list. I love making lists. I'm a lister. Okay. I will make a list about the list that I need to make. I have done that before. So it doesn't always have to be like, if you're not a very creative person, that's fine. That doesn't mean that you can't create a vision for yourself or have a vision statement for yourself. Okay. You can write it down. You can list out the things that are important to you, the things that you want to manifest in your life. Okay. You can also do a Pinterest board. That's definitely rising in popularity, doing the Pinterest board for all the things that you want to accomplish. Or you can you can do it as a screensaver on your phone or a screensaver on your computer. We look at our phones a gazillion times a day, and so we can have imagery on there to remind us of that vision statement, or you can just text it out and have that vision statement as your screensaver. Okay, so you literally want to be able to see it as often as possible, so that you keep it at the forefront of your mind. Because if we remember, the law of attraction dictates that what we spend the most time thinking about, we have a higher likelihood of manifesting. Okay, so the more time you spend thinking about your vision statement and the things that you hope to manifest in your life, the more likely you are to be able to manifest it. All right. And then when I say figuratively see it clearly and see it often, I'm talking about the power of visualization. All right. Visualization is so very powerful. I was telling y'all about my private practice, when I went into private practice, and I had such a clear visualization in my mind's eye about my private practice, like literally to the point where I picked out the curtains on the wall. Like I saw the office space before I found the office space. So like when I found my office space, I knew that that was the office space because it matched the vision that was in my head. You get what I'm saying? Like I'm talking about visualizing, seeing it clearly down to the details. I knew the curtains that were on the wall. I knew the chair that, like my counseling chair, because for a counselor, a chair is very important because we spend a lot of time in that chair. I knew what desk I was going to have. I knew what color the walls were going to be. Like I saw this office space, and I created the same office space that I saw in my mind's eye. And I didn't even realize that I had created that space until it was all put together. And it kind of felt like deja vu because I had spent so much time visualizing that goal, that vision. Okay? I knew what it was that I wanted to see manifest. And it was so clear in my mind because I kept going over it and over it and over it and adding more and more detail to it. Okay. The more time I spent thinking about it, the more details were added to it. All right. Processing it, mulling over it. Okay, almost obsessing, but not to the point where like it becomes dysfunctional. All right. So you want to see it clearly in your mind's eye, and you want to see it often. You may not have all of the steps right now. You may not know exactly what goes into it right now, but the more time that you spend visualizing it in your mind's eye, the more detail you get, the more information you gather about what it is and how it's going to manifest itself. Okay? So, you know, see it clearly, see it often, both literally and figuratively. All right. What else? You also want to make sure that when you are writing out your vision statement, you want to write it in present tense, although as though it already exists. Okay. So you're writing out, it's about your future, but you want to write it as if it already exists. You know, like the church folks say, you got to claim that. Yes, ma'am. You have to claim it. This is what I'm going to manifest in my life. This is what I'm going to see. This is what I see in my life. Words have meaning. It's and those words can be very, very powerful. Okay? So when you write it in present tense as though it already exists, what you are saying to yourself and to the universe is that this is mine already. This belongs to me. This is for me. Now I just need to figure out how to realize it. Okay? So when you're writing your vision statement, you want to use things like I am versus I will. You want to use things like I have instead of I want. Okay? Really, make sure that you're writing it in the present tense. Claim it. It's yours already. Okay? If you can create it in your mind, you can create it in your existence, all right, or in your world. Claim it as such. All right. Another thing to keep in mind is that I want you to make sure that, and I kind of touched on this already, but include your whole life. Don't just stop in one area. Include your whole life. If you're going to go through the trouble of creating a vision statement for yourself, why not include every area of your life? You have an opportunity to actively participate in your life. So many of us I think, we really just kind of like bumbling around, going through life without a care in the world and not really paying attention to what's happening to us, through us, and around us. Okay? And so if you're going to take the time to stop and create a vision statement for yourself, you may as well actively participate in every aspect of your life. All right? So you can, like I said before, you can do a different vision statement for each life area, or you can include all of the life areas in one longer statement. I prefer to do separate statements, but whatever works for you works for you. All right. So some of the different life areas that you might want to include is your health, finances, relationships, business, career, spirituality, marriage, if that's a thing for you. Okay. Or whatever life areas you choose to identify. All right. What else? Vision statements. And I think the last thing that I really want to stress, one of the last things that I really want to stress when it comes to creating a vision statement for your life is that there's no time like the present. All right? The sooner the better. Like, the universe works in its own time. And so there's no guarantee that, like, if you tell the universe today that this is what you want to see manifest, that tomorrow the universe is going to be like, oh, okay, so you asked for it, here you go. I mean, it can happen like that. You never know. But the universe has its own timing. And so the sooner the better. The earlier you can start, claiming whatever it is that you want to manifest and letting the universe or God, Allah, Spirit, the Holy Ghost, whatever it is, whatever whatever you choose to call that entity, because it's all the same entity. Okay, so whatever you choose to call that entity, the sooner you start letting that entity know that this is what I would like to see happen in my life, this is the life that I am claiming for myself, then the much faster and sooner those wheels start turning, and opportunities begin to present themselves for you to be able to manifest those things. Okay, because like I've said before, the universe doesn't bring you the things. The universe doesn't just say, poof, here you go. The universe creates opportunities for you to manifest. All right. It creates opportunities for you to be able to manifest the desires of your heart. And you have to be able to identify those opportunities and to take advantage of those opportunities when they are presented. All right. Okay, so the sooner the better. There's no time like the present. You're wasting time reacting to life when you can be, spending your time really dictating the type of life that you want to have, and being an active participant in your life instead of just responding to whatever comes your way. All right, take action. Take action. All right. Create the plan, create the statement, and then move forward with creating the plan. And the creating the plan part is more involved, and that's actually going to be module 4 for the Empower Your Vision Masterclass. I had it all together initially, but I decided to break it off and make it 2 separate pieces, like the vision and mission statement and then vision planning. Okay. And really quickly, the difference between vision planning and a vision statement is that, vision statement is really kind of like the outline. It is the declaration of who you want to be in the life that you want to have. Vision planning is the steps that it will take to manifest your vision statement. Okay, so vision planning is the action behind the statement. All right, and that's something that I'll probably talk about next week. Okay. All right. So that's all I have for y'all today in terms of the primary topic. And so I'm just reviewing this one more time, make sure I got everything. Yes. So that's all I got for y'all today in terms of the actual topic for today. And so coming up next is high five. All right, so this week's high five goes to Hulu. Let me tell y'all, Hulu started streaming Living Single on their platform, I think on the 16th. And I never realized how much I love Living Single. Like, I knew that I love Living Single, but I never realized how much I really love Living Single. But let me tell y'all how I got my whole entire life on Living Single this weekend. Okay, like it was so good, y'all. Like, I had work that needed to be done, but I was so into Living Single, it was crazy. It's so different, like watching it as an adult, because when Living Single came out, I was like in high school or something like that. In a 90s kind of world, you know what I'm saying? Like, I was in high school, and so I didn't always understand all of the subject matter. I enjoyed the characters and things like that. It was a family show, so we used to watch it as a family. But watching it as an adult now, I feel like so much had gone over my head because I just had not had life experiences. So now, having, been living single, like having been a 20-something-year-old in the prime of my career, like starting up my career, having my friends and stuff, dating, and like dealing with just all of the things that life brings to you in your mid to late 20s, I feel like I just love the show even more adore now. Like it's so freaking amazing and awesome. Like the show, it really showed us so much about life, and it addressed like some very real topics about being a black woman in America, but not only being a black woman in America, but just being black in America, because Kyle and Overton, they represented black manhood, and I think they did an amazing job. And let me tell y'all this side note, okay? I never really knew where my attraction to kind of weird guys came from. I've always kind of been attracted to guys that were like just a little weird, like just in their own world or whatever. And it wasn't until I started watching Living Single this weekend, like I binge watched Living Single this weekend. Y'all, I love me some Overton. And I really think that Overton is like where that attraction really kind of came from. I just love everything about Overton. Like I love that Overton is who he is, and he's unapologetic about who he is. He's like super down to earth, but then he's a little ditzy at the same time. Like I love Overton. I love Sinclair. I love Kyle. I enjoys me some Maxine Shaw. Erica Alexander, which was the actress that played Maxine Shaw, she played the hell out of that role. I always love Queen Latifah's portrayal of Khadijah, as this strong black woman who also has like this soft side to her, like with Scooter, and I mean, I just listen. The show was funny. It is. It's educational. It's extremely well written. And I think what I love the most about it is that it is unapologetically black. There is blackness all up and through Living Single, and it is a love and an affinity for that blackness. And I feel like, it really gave us a view into finances, romantic relationships, friendships, like kind of like this coming of age story, coming into your own and moving into adulthood, business ownership. Like it gave us a little bit of everything. It's definitely a historic, groundbreaking kind of show, and I absolutely am very thankful that Hulu, somebody at Hulu decided to give us a little bit of black television. You know what I'm saying? Because it is lacking on Hulu and on Netflix. And so, high five to Hulu for, giving us some Living Single. I hope that, they decide to give us much more, of those shows that really showcase what it is to be black in America, but show it from a more positive side. And so high five to Hulu, high five to Living Single. I'm going to continue to get my life this weekend. I don't get to watch a lot of TV during the week because I work so hard. I have a gazillion things going on. So the weekends is really where like I catch up on stuff. And so I'm going to continue to get my life on this Living Single, probably for the next couple of weekends. And so high five to Hulu for making that happen. I truly appreciate your efforts. Okay. And that is my high five for today. Let's see. Shout outs. I definitely have a few shout outs today. Of course, shout out to Black Married Fly podcast. Hey Trev, hey Candace. I really appreciate y'all. They always have such nice things to say about the show. I know that they listen to the show, and I appreciate all of the nice feedback that they give. Trev really likes my voice, which is the number one feedback that I typically get. Most people really enjoy my voice, but he's very vocal about it. And so thank you guys for all of the support. I just did an interview with them that's going to air for the Valentine's Day issue or episode, and so I'm super duper excited about that. And I actually, if you haven't listened to their most recent episode, you should take a listen. They actually interviewed interviewed their very first gay couple, and I was like all up in that episode. Okay, it was really, really good. Good job, guys. I really enjoyed it. Also, shout out to Crystal Clear Podcast. Hey, Crystal. I was actually just listening to your podcast right before I started recording. And so, shout out to Crystal Clear. Shout out to The Read. Listen, I really enjoy The Read. Now, I know that The Read is a much bigger podcast. It is huge, right? But I really thoroughly enjoy The Read. Sometimes I think some of the podcasts that are out there, I feel like it's too much going on, and I feel like people sometimes try to be like extra extra black, and it just comes off as I don't know. The word that comes to my mind is coonish, but and I don't really care for it. But The Read, I can see why it's like one of the top podcasts in the industry right now, because it's like just the right amount of ignorant, and I love me some ignorant, and I feel like everybody need a little ignorant in their life from time to time, and The Read it feeds my threshold of ignorant. And so I love The Read. So shout out to The Read. Also the Evolving Chair podcast with Lakeisha Russell. I just did an interview with Lakeisha. That's going to be airing in the next couple weeks as well. I love her. She's a LPC as well, licensed professional counselor. She's a single mom, and we talk about what that is, like what that life is like, being an entrepreneur and a single mom, and still an employee and things like that. So it was a really good interview that we did the other day, and that's going to be airing, like I said, in a couple weeks. Also, shout out to Black Magic Podcast, which is a podcast that I've just this last week started listening to. It's based out of the UK, which I love listening to their accents. But it's a really, really good podcast, and it's all about Black women and Black girl magic in the UK. And it's always interesting to hear how Black people in other parts of the world experience racism and experience life in general. I think being Black in America is a unique kind of experience, but it's the more I travel the world and the more I consume information from other parts of the world, the more I realize that it's not as unique as we think it is, And so Black Magic Podcast is it's definitely an eye into what it's like to be Black in the UK, and it's very interesting, and I love it. It's great, and I just like listening to their accents. It's amazing, which I know is really cliche, but whatever, that's what it is. Okay, so Black Magic Podcast, shout out to y'all. Also, shout out to Oprah. Y'all know how I feel about me some Oprah. I enjoy me some Oprah. And Oprah does a podcast called Super Soul Conversations. So on her show, or on her network, on her own network, she does Super Soul Sundays, which is where she sits down with thought leaders, and like spiritual leaders, about and just talk about different things related to spirituality and moving your life forward. And I've already claimed that I will be sitting across from Oprah one day, and Oprah will be interviewing me and talking to me, asking me what I got to say about the world. I know that is going to happen one day. I'm claiming it. Okay. But she also does this podcast called Super Soul Conversations, which is kind of like a smaller version of Super Soul Sundays. And so I am enthralled in Super Soul Conversations. I really love it. The episodes are about 30 to 40 minutes, and it's amazing. So I listen to that like when I'm really trying to get some inspiration. I'm always trying to feed my spirit and taking in information that feeds me and makes me a better person. So it's one of my favorite podcasts. I listen to it regularly. And so y'all check that out. Shout out to Oprah and Super Soul Conversations. And then, I mentioned earlier that I did have a little bit of a rough week when it came to just being a podcaster. There's some like behind the scenes kind of things that go into having a podcast that I think I never really like considered when I thought about, oh, I want to do a podcast. And so this week, some of those things really kind of got the best of me, namely like my numbers and things like that. And I was a little down about it. And so there's a Facebook group. There's a podcast called She Podcasts, and it is basically for women in podcasting. And so they also have a Facebook group community, and it's called She Podcasts as well. And it's for women who host podcasts. And so I vented in that group about my stresses around, just trying to wrap my head around the administrative side of running a podcast, and like just the business side of running a podcast. And those ladies jumped in immediately, and they loved on me, and they made me feel better. They educated me. They made me feel better about the entire situation, and they helped to really kind of snap me back into reality. And so shout out to the She Podcast Facebook group, because you all really helped me. You all really fed me in a way that I needed to be fed, and I definitely appreciate y'all for that. It's amazing to have a community. I talked about this last week, creating a support network for yourself, creating, a system around yourself that can uplift you and support you. And this week, the She Podcast Facebook group definitely did that for me. And so shout out to all of the female podcasting hosts out there. Thank you for being a part of the sisterhood, and for just holding me up when I needed to be held. I appreciate y'all for that. And then finally, shout out to my own Facebook group, Trust Village. I love y'all so much. Like, y'all have no idea, because you all allow me to live my vision. Okay, like all of this podcast, the group, the masterclass, the blog, like everything that I do is a part of my vision. And so being able to help you along your journey is helping me in my journey as well. And so I'm forever grateful to my Facebook group community, because you ladies really support me, and you all really feed me and feed my spirit through the times that can be difficult. And so shout out to Trust Village. I love you ladies. And to all of my listeners, thank you so much, you guys. I appreciate you all. You can make sure that you're rating on iTunes, and anywhere that you listen to podcasts, but specifically on iTunes. Just trying to get my voice out there more, let more people know about me. If you like what you hear, then tell the people that you like what you hear. Share it. Make sure that you follow me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Unicorns Talk Pod. If you have any questions or anything, you can submit a listener letter to AskTrice, AskTrice at LatriceSampsonRichards.com, or you can fill out a form on the website at LatriceSampsonRichards.com. The website is up and running. It is freaking amazing. I love it, love it, love it. So take a look at it if you get a chance. Yeah, that's all I got for y'all today. That's it. I love y'all so much, and I appreciate y'all. And until next time, be well. Bye, y'all.